Okay, perfect. Here we go, Brother Captain.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. And that is none other than a long-standing believer and soldier in the Nation of Islam, one who served as captain for years, none other than Brother Eric Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir. This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. The first question we want to know, sir, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
You know, brother, believe it or not, I was in jail. I was in Attica, New York, in prison. And, I never played religion in jail because I always seen the brothers go one way, the Kufi go the other way, and it never seemed to stick, So it was when I got out of prison, unbeknown to me, I would meet my wife. She was born in the Nation of Islam, Kamala Muhammad, and her family, a long tenure in helping the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. That's when, that summer when I got out, that I was talking with her one day, and I was like, wow, I was so amazed about the wisdom that she was using, dealing with the study guides, dealing with, just the lessons, brother, I said, wow, this is deep, right? So, I started to, investigate a little bit, and then she invited me out to the mosque, and brother, believe it or not, almost 39 years later, I'm still here. So that's how it begins, my journey.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. And what advice would you give to other young men and women who about staying away from staying out of prison? As someone who has been in prison, what advice would you tell them?
Well, brother, I would tell them that that first of all, there's a science of how to stay out of prison. And the science is that to know when God wants to bless you and when your blessings have come. A lot of times, brother Josh, we always try to put ourselves in a position of what another man got. And you can never count another man's pocket because you don't know what he went through. And you just got to be grateful whatever God bless you with. And so most of the brothers, the reason why they go to prison and throw a brick at the prison is because they are seeking things, that maybe God don't want them to have. I've seen so many people get the money, but then what happens? They go to use drugs, right? They start abusing themselves, and then next thing you know, they're doing 30 years and they don't even get a chance to spend the money. So the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, though, brother, want for your brother what you want for yourself. The minister say you don't have to steal from no man. When God wants you to have something, brother, you will get it, and that's one of the things about not going to jail, brother, because we're chasing a dream. I remember, you ever seen the Matrix, brother, where they say if you take this pill, it look like this, and you take that pill, it'll be that, the blue or the red pill.
Yes,
well,
sir.
That's the devil does us out here in the world, making us think that, brother, that we're gonna come up by robbing and stealing and selling dope. But at the end of the day, everything go back. The car go back, the dog go back, the money go back, and you do not pass go, and and you do not collect $200. So that's, it's hard to stand out of jail, brother.
Beautiful, excellent teaching, Brother Captain. All praise due to Allah. People are showing you love all across the country. And my sister Miriam says, "Assalamu alaikum, family." Like salam. And thank you all for watching. Okay, my next question is, sir, how did your family and friends feel once you came out of prison and then accepted the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Brother, they thought I lost my mind, Brother Josh, right? Because they said, Brother Eric, now I know you're not going into the Nation of Islam, brother, right? Because, brother, believe it or not, brother, I was one of those brothers in jail reading Donald Goin books, Pepper Diet, all that crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying, brother? I didn't have no inclination of going to no Nation of Islam, brother. Matter of fact, during that time, brother, they was teaching that the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan had lost, made Jesse lose the election. The campaign on the minister was so severe, brother. You know what I'm saying? They almost convinced me that he was the reason why, that Jesse lost his bid to run, for the presidency, right? And then the more I investigated, and I said, why they, hate on this man so much, right? But the more I investigated, the more I start to get closer to him, I realized, brother, you know what I'm saying? The devil's a liar. He's a liar, brother. And at the same time, I got to know this man from a different perspective, brother, and fell in love with him, right? And that was one of the things for me, though, brothers, that, you know, his whole being, brother, is why I'm here today, because it gives me hope for younger brothers, and to share back what he has shared with me, brother.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, Captain, we spoke yesterday. You spoke about, man, 40 years in
Yes,
the
sir.
Nation of Islam. What has been the key to your longevity and your sustaining your faith?
Well, brother, one of the things for me, brother, is that, and I'm not spooky, brother Josh, I had some ups and downs, right? But, it's like the scripture says, brother, try to hold on to the hem of his garment, and it's not always easy, try to be right. You're going to have those ups and downs of the nation, brother, right? But, one of the things that I can tell you, brother, for sure, is that me and my wife, brother, is built on truth, and we can call each other to the truth, of what God said and the messenger said, right? And that reminder, brother, helps keep you, leveled, because it's no big eyes to big U's, brother. You know what I'm saying? Truth run my house, brother. That's what run my house. Even with my children, they bring me the truth, I submit to it, brother. And I think that also, though, brother, to understand that, you know, when you building a nation like the minister was building, brother, and your father played a major role also, brother, in terms of, he was the first one that said, man, he taught the brother, say, brother, I love you, black man. I ain't never, really told a black man that I love him besides my father, but he institutionalized that, and next thing you know, the whole nation just went around, brother, I love you, brother. I love you, brother. I love you, black man. It got so, I mean, we got so excited, we forgot to tell our wives we love them too. It was just all our brothers saying, I love you, black man. I'm like, then you get caught up and you say, oh, I love you too, honey, but those are the things I think that for us, brother, the brotherhood, man, it keeps you going, and the work, brother, because back then, though, brother Josh, is that, brother, we didn't even know what day it was. Travel with the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, brother, and your father, brother. Like I said, brother, I remember the minister said one time is that, brother, when you got a slave, you need a slave driver. And brother, we was working to the sun up to the sundown, helping to build the nation of Islam, brother, by the grace of Allah. We was able to establish Canada is one of my greatest high points in the nation, that I think that we put so much work in that country, brother, that, we didn't even know, we couldn't keep a job, brother, because, you're gone 27 days out of the week, in traveling with Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, but you didn't know where your money was coming from. But God, brother, by his grace, brother, you know what I'm saying? He soon enriched us all, with the spirit.
All praises due to Allah. Okay, let's go back to Canada, Captain.
Yes, sir.
What was that like, carrying the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to Canada? What was that like?
Well, brother, it was like a discovery. It was like conquering. I mean, you feel like a gladiator, brother. You know what I'm saying? Taking the truth, brother, sticking the flag of Islam in different places, brother, and watching the believers grow and develop. And brother, I can tell you for sure, brother, when you are helping the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan do this work, brother, there's so many rewards, brother. It's just go untold, brother, and I know for me, the friends, brother, that I made in his name, brother, it is, oh my God, brother, I just can't tell you the blessings still coming in the mail, because the fact that when you do good, brother, you never is without. And that's one of the things about building study groups and helping Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's when you start seeing those young brothers and those young sisters that appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? All the sacrifice that you made, and you hear their mothers call you. Even today, brother, some of the young brothers and their mother call me, even though they might be 40, 50, they still check in, brother. And it's something that when you add on to somebody else's life like that, brother, and they still ask for guidance or directions, brother, that's the biggest feeling you can have when you pour into somebody, brother. So yes, brother, we did a great job, a great work helping Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, the former laborers. We had the big captain, Brother Dennis, led the charge. And then I come right after Brother Wali Allah, he used to be Brother Hugh. And brother, I like to say they like James Brown, the hardest man working in the show business, brother. Because brother, it was no slacking, brother. They kept us, focused on the mission, brother. And we, brother, by Allah's grace, brother, still remain close today. I can tell you captains at the captains, brother, ministers, brother. To do this work and have friends like that, brother, I'm all in, brother. I'm all in. I ain't got nowhere else to go, brother Josh.
Praise due to Allah. Thank you, everyone who shares, and subscribe and is watching. Can't wait to put this on YouTube. Please let us know what city you all are checking in from, so we can show love to Brother Captain Eric Muhammad from all over the country. Now, what was it like for you, sir, the first time you met the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Wow, brother. I would say, brother, I'd never been to heaven, but if I had, it would be with him that time, brother. Meet with Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, brother, was like, brother, it was so divine, so surreal, And the biggest thing, though, brother, that I wasn't expect, he was just a brother. He was just a brother, so filled with love and truth and honesty, brother, And I tell you, brother Josh, because I come out of that world, I remember, brother, that at the time, your father, brother, when I come in the nation, brother, I think the savings they give was $100, maybe $3, and he had raised it up to about $1,000, brother, right? And I, in my life, gave a man $1,000, brother. So in my young beginning in the Nation of Islam, that was a trial for me to give him $1,000, right, to a black man, right? But brother, I had sold everything out of my house, my furniture, my whole house, brother, we sold to raise that money. So it's really 2,000 because I had to give my wife 1,000, I had to get my 1,000, right? So it's really $2,000, right? And I remember, brother, as Muslim brother, we sold everything in our house. And even to the day, brother, I swear to God, I got so much furniture, brother. It's just, brother, furniture is not even, it's like breathing. It just come to me, brother. Allah blessed me so well, brother, because I made a sacrifice and it's still returning, interest on it, right? So you can never, brother, lose when you give to the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. And I remember at that time, brother Josh, we was doing what they call hookups, right? On the radio, on the phone. And, and I remember the study guys, brother, the minister was breaking it down. Why he giving us the study guide? God is able, you know what I'm saying? Overcoming the will, overcoming difficulties, building the will, part 1, 2, 3, all of these study guys never known that he was showing us, right, that we're going to have to face our fears sometimes, right? You're going to be around feelings and controversies, right? You're going to have to rise above emotion into the thinking of God. All of these things you had to put together, right? And those are the brothers and sisters that was part of that study circle remains, today, because that was another part of what kept me into the nation, brother, because we solid study group, brother. One of the things about our minister at that time, Brother Ali Muhammad, he taught, brother, the study circle, brother, and the lessons and whatnot, brother, like nobody else I'd known, brother, at that time, right? He kept us focused, brother, you know what I'm saying, on the study guide. And the study guide had rules when we went to different situations in our lives, right? And so as long as you understand how to go back and listen to the word and pauseate on the words of the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, brother, you can always regain, you know what I'm saying, what you think you had lost. And that's how, every day I try to nurse something, brother, that I can hear truth, and not just lead into my own understanding.
Oh, praise due to Allah. Beautiful. And people are showing you love all across the country. Walaikum salam, Sister Tracy out of Baltimore, and everyone else who's watching. We look forward to seeing you soon, Sister Tracy, and thank everyone else who is continuing to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Okay, yes, sir. Now, Brother Captain, you over 40 years in the nation. You're going from Canada, Buffalo, New York, traveling around the Most Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, up and down the country. Have you ever been faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Yes, sir. Well, brother, always, brother, you be challenged with something. Two things, brother. I was able by Allah's grace to conquer fear in two different environments. And what I mean is that, brother, going to prison, you know, being in Attica, I overcame fear, you know, and that's why I told you earlier, I never played religion because I always seen the brothers going in for protection, you know, most of the times. Then you have some, do have some sincere believers, but most of the time, you know, these brothers looking for protection, brother, you know. And I never believed in that though, brother. So I had to call on the God that I knew. I didn't know the proper name was Allah, just knew he was God, you know. But, you know, I learned, brother, that fear is false evidence appearing to be real. You know, but if you challenge the darkness, brother, the light will shine, brother. You know, you can't always, brother, think that, you know, a person believe like you believe, you know. And I'm gonna sidetrack for 1 minute. I remember my brother-in-law, how I met my sister, my wife, right? It was her brother was in prison. We used to call him Big Jeff, but he used to be a captain in the Nation of Islam, right? When I got out, he was a captain when I came out of prison, right? And one of the things that he always taught, he taught brotherhood, right? But in there, he was acting other than himself, you know, because he wasn't thinking, appreciating what he had, right? I remember, brother, one day, brother, you know, when you in prison, brother, sometimes they give you these things, what they call commissaries, and they give you an envelope and a stamp or something like that, so you can write, you know, your wife or your girlfriend or whoever you know, at that time, what you're dealing with, right? And he went around, brother, he was stealing everybody's stuff, right? Off their bars, right? Because the officer would put them on your bars and you can snatch them, you know, when you wake up or whatever you do, right? But in this situation, brother, my brother-in-law was so built, brother. It looked like, brother, he can take the bars and bend them and walk out of jail. That's how built Big Jeff was, right? And I like, damn. So it was a Mexican, it was a Spanish brother next to me, right? And he said, mira, right? And I looked and he like, him, he took your stuff, right? I said, he got my stuff? He said, yeah, he got my stuff, right? So when the gates unlocked, right? I goes in his cell, man. I said, yo, man, where my stuff at, man? You know, he said, what stuff, man? What stuff, right? And, you know, he swells up. He like, damn. And in my mind now, right? I said, man, you gonna give me my stuff, brother. You know what I'm saying? So I end up, brother, I'm throwing this big little mattress over and stuff like that. He said, yo, man, what are you doing, man, right? Man, I hit this man so hard, brother Josh. He didn't move. Do you hear what I'm saying? He didn't even move, right? And I'm saying to myself, man, oh shit, it's on now, right? So now he snatched me, brother, and he flipped me so hard, right? My whole leg hit the bed and bust the whole gas in my leg, right? You know, and I couldn't do nothing but take a pin, you know what I'm saying, and start stabbing them with it, right? You know what I'm saying? And then next thing I know, it was about 40 to 50 guards that came in, right? You know what I'm saying? They put both of us in keep lock, right? But the thing was is that I had to challenge my fears. You know, this dude was in there trying to punk people and snatch stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? That was one of the things, you know, because I come out of the project, so I was always, you know, living a life, you know, gang banging and all this. But you learn in the streets, brother, how to challenge your fears, brother. Because either you're gonna beat me up, or I'm gonna beat you up, but something gonna give, brother. You know. And believe it or not, when I got out of prison, do you know, brother? I'd never known that I had met his sister, and I was over at his house one day. He came home, and he saw me, brother. And he like, nigga, you was the guy, and I'm tripping, right? Because I didn't even know that was his sister, though, right? But at the end, though, brother, we became the best of friends, brother. He became my captain. It taught me brotherhood, though, brother. But you know, we've been soldiering, brother. And I'm just telling you how faith is, right? You never know, brother, how your life turns up, brother. You know, so that was one of the things that I have overcome. You got to challenge it, brother.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, and Sister Kosam, Sister Kosam Akbar says Allahu Akbar. And thank you everyone else who continues to show love. And then Sister Tracy says, wow, what a story. Excellent. All praise due to Allah. Now, Brother Captain, we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this month. I want to thank everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast and show love all across the country. Starting with my brother, if you would like to be a sponsor or donor, please cash out the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of his services. My sister Miriam, Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me Spanish book. coloring book, and children's book, all three available on Amazon.com. ABC I Love Me. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studio of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Rod Communications. If you are working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rod Communications. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad, conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife, Sister Fudia, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. She does a phenomenal job. Please get her book, Sister Fudia Muhammad. Fashion Guides, Urban Streetwear for Men and Boys, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dripping in the best of fashion. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the nation. Thank you very much. AsiaticMinds.com. Asiatic Minds is a virtual school that teaches STEM to young kings and queens all across the country. Please sign your children up for AsiaticMinds.com. Also, our brother Taj Hollywood. He's doing an amazing job in the film industry and the television industry as well. Chemistry episode 6. Please make sure that we support his television show. Also, Keep It Hood, helping others overcome depression, from our brother Taj Hollywood. Let's make sure that we keep it hood, helping others overcome. Dr. Henry Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon. Right back to our brother Captain Eric Muhammad on his amazing life journey. My next question for you, sir, is, now you're speaking a lot of your wife, sir. How important has she been to your development as a man?
Brother, my wife, brother, by Lord's grace, brother, helped me to be the man that I have become. You know, brother, a lot of times, brother Joshua, you know, the scripture said there's ways to seem all right to a man, but therein is death and destruction. You know, I learned, brother, that when you have a companion, the Lord bless you with somebody, brother, to have your back, and that, you know, there's no secrets, brother. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to understand that's your business partner. You know, brother, a long time ago, brother, again, when you think about relationships, right? Relationships that have been taught in today, brother, you know what I'm saying, brother? It's not what it really is. And that's why you don't have longevity. You know, that's why you don't have longevity, because somebody gaming on each other, trying to get, I want something out of you, you try to get something out of me, and we play these type of games, you know, and then we bring these other situations that former relationships or engrams had, and we don't last, you know. But I had a vision, brother, of what I wanted to see, you know, what we looked like. And let me give you an example. Me and my wife, brother, took the example of Minister Don and Sister, and his wife, Sister Shirley. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As an example of what we wanted to be in the nation, right? Along with the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, the foremost, right? And I'm telling you something, brother. We had crisscrossed this country, brother, with them, you know, brother, sacrificing. And as I told you earlier, my wife, brother, she's a stormtrooper. She was a captain, brother, you know, and still is a captain, right? And I remember, brother, you know, brother, there's no doubt in my mind, brother, she come from a family of captains, right? And so she come from a good stock, brother, in the Nation of Islam, right? And I'm telling you, when she tried to pour it in me, brother, you know what I'm saying? The man that she wanted me to become, you know, I'm gonna give you another example is this, brother. I remember, but when I first heard the teacher, you know how, you know, we call it a 90-day wonder, brother, you know what I'm saying? You know, you zealous when you come into the nation, right? You hear one little toot and you think you're a scholar, right? I remember, brother, I go out to the mosque one day, brother, and I hear Brother Dennis and he's teaching, and I go into this Arab store, right? And again, remember, now I'm still processing, right? I'm still in the world, you know, and I'm talking with these Arabs, right? And at the time, these Arabs are selling what they call Lucy's, right? Them cigarettes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Now, I'm in there talking to the Arabs and talking about, y'all not real Muslims. Man, y'all selling pork to our people, man, and y'all selling death to our people and everything else, you know? And the night before, I had gave my wife my word, brother, that I would try to quit smoking, right? You know, cigarettes, right? And brother, I don't know what happened this day, brother, but out of nowhere, my wife happened to walk into the store, this Arab store, right? And I'm smoking a cigarette, smoking a Newport, right?
Mm.
And if you ever see them cartoons, brother, when you try to hold it with all the smoke come out your ears, brother, because I was so embarrassed, brother Josh, right? That I gave her my word and she busted me out smoking, right? And she like, what is that you smoking, Eric? I said, what? I ain't smoking nothing, right? But I'll put the cigarette out in my pocket, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because I had given her my word. And I realized, brother, that was the one for me, brother.
Mm.
Because she made me change my ways, brother. You know what I'm saying, brother? And I said, wow, it's something special about her. You know what I'm saying? And brother, by Lord's grace, brother, I was able to give up all of my vices, which one of the hardest things was smoking cigarettes, brother, you know?
Mm.
And today I'm cigarette free, brother. You know what I mean, brother? Brother, I saved so much money on cigarettes, brother, from the teaching. Because, you know, cigarettes today, brother, was like $10 or something, $11 a pack.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and when I started, there was only like 85 cents a pack, brother.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
so I'm just saying, that, bro, look how much money I saved. You know what I mean? Because of listening to the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, over those times. You know, so yes, but that's she's brother. You know, I tell people all the time, brother, don't marry a woman that you want to live with. Marry a woman, brother, that you can't live without. You know, that's what I tell people today, brother. You know, and you got to, as the study guys talks about it, as the minister teaches us, brother, it's in degrees, brother. It's in degrees. You just got to keep fighting through the storm, brother. You know, and by God's grace, we still climbing, you know, Jacob's ladder. My mother-in-law and them been married almost 69 years, you know,
Mm.
so, you know, we got good people in front of us as examples, you know, Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, of course, you know, and we still learning. We still in the process, brother. And the law willing, brother, I hope I get to the end, you know, because I tell you, brother, we are, I mean, that's my business partner. I mean, there's nothing that, I mean, when I say we haven't did anything together, we did everything together. First of all, me and my wife, brother, remember I was telling you one day about we had started the Birds of Paradise, the bow tie business.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right?
sir.
My father, you know, said me and him, but we used to sell ties all around the nation, brother, with the suspended sets, the whole 9 yard, right? And also, you know, me and my wife created our own company, brother, you know, whereas construction and everything, there's nothing that we haven't done, brother, together. You know,
Mm.
everything that we did together, supporting one another, daycares and group homes, the whole 9 yard. We always feed off each other, brother, because at the end of the day, you know, the messenger always said, brother, do for self or suffer the consequences.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and one of the things about the spouse, brother, that you got to realize is that if y'all going the same way, the journey is much easier. You know, is y'all going the opposite, you know, because when we go to Savior days and everything else, see, we already knew that we was going to sleep with the brothers, he was going to sleep with the sisters. You
Mm.
know, because we was at that time, brother, it was like 10 in the room. You know what I'm saying? And brother, you know, so you save money doing that, you know, back then,
Mm.
right? You
Mm.
know, because you're traveling with down with Mr. Louis Farrakhan, brother. You know, you got to make sure, brother, that all your ducks is in a row because it is a financial tag, you know, that's on that, right? Because from coming to Buffalo, which is the farthest north of any city, right? All the way
Mm.
down to Baton Rouge or all the way to California, but that's a long journey because we always come from the farthest point, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
They call us Buffalo soldiers, brother. You know, and we was there, brother. Your father, brother, one thing I can tell you, he could call us, brother. He knew they could depend on us, brother. You know, we was one of those cities, brother, that they could depend on. And I thank Allah for that.
Oh, praise you to Allah. Yes, sir. And I want to make sure that on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, that we thank you for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family as well, sir. We are
Praise be
truly
to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
grateful to
Yes.
you and all the work that you all have put in and continue to put in work to help establish America. I mean, help establish Islam here in North America. I love that too. The Buffalo Soldiers. That's pretty cool. Sister Tracy says, beautiful, good teachings. Alhamdulillah, people showing you love all across the country. Thank you
Praise
all
be
for
to
every
Allah.
like, share, and subscription to the People's Podcast. Yes, sir. My next question for you, sir, is the Million Man March. What was the climate like in Buffalo, New York, leading up to the Million Man March, and how did it personally impact you?
Wow, brother, that was to me is like one of the greatest moments of my life. You know, when you see a miracle happen, right?
Mm. Mm.
And at that time, brother, it was a lot on me because we was dealing with the East Coast, right? And we had to bring a lot of brothers and get people to the Million Man March, right?
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
by God's grace, though, brother, I was honored. Your father, brother, had me locked down. I was one of the captains, brother, who had the whole stage locked down. So I had a bird's eye view of everything, right? And it was a lot of responsibility, a lot of faith that he had in me, and some of the other captains, we had some, when I say captains, brother, I'm talking about some stormtroopers. Brother, we had like Captain Gregory, top of the clock, but we had some captains, brother, we just hear and obey. You know what I'm saying, man? We back then, brother, we just, man, like a tornado, bro. We just go through stuff, brother. You know what I'm saying, man? And it would just have a profound effect because we believed, right? And leading up to the Million Man March, I'm gonna tell you one of the highlights of my captaincy, I thought, anyway, right? When we had brought in the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, before that, he was doing the all-man meetings, if you remember, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And brother, I had the honor, brother, of bringing the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan into Buffalo, right? And I remember, brother, by Lord's grace, brother, I was able to work in conjunction with all the different police in the task force, right, to lock down the whole expressway for the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, where nobody was on the highway but him. It got, because I remember Brother Supreme, Brother Mr. Was telling Brother Dennis, he thought Brother Dennis had did it, and Brother Dennis said, no, sir, Brother Minister, Brother Supreme, that was Brother Eric, and brother, but that was, so much joy, brother, you know what I'm saying? The command, well, we took it serious, brother, when the minister came in, and there's a lot of things that, brother, that we did, and we was able, brother, when it comes to the Million Man March, right? To help try to make it successful, brother. We brought busloads down of people with us, brother, and again, I was, at that time, I just wasn't a captain of Buffalo, but I was like a state captain, right, over Rochester, Toronto, Syracuse, Attica, all these other people that we had responsibility for, because we was the mother mosque. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost like a little region within inside of a region, right? That your father had us responsible for, right? And so, brother, we went there, brother. It was a tremendous, brother, success, brother. And I thank Allah, brother, that the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan allowed me to serve, brother, and that's another thing that I can say, man. I had participated in one of the most significant events in the history of America, because regardless of what they may say, brother, would the truth be told, brother, that is the overwhelming event, brother. They see 2 million men show up and he called for 1 million, so that's one of the things that, brother, that I can take to my grave, brother,
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Excellent. And thank everyone who continues to show love to our brother Captain Eric out of Buffalo, New York, and Canada. And man, I'm surprised. Are there still believers in Canada?
Yes, sir, brother. There's believers still in Canada, brother. And it's just like sometimes, but like seasons sometimes. How in the springtime, say you get some of the buds and stuff like that, but they start blooming back again, brother. You know what I'm saying? The earth might look dead, but it's not dead, brother. It's coming back. And and as a side note, I reside now in Arizona now, right? So we here in Arizona, brother, and with the believers here, brother, Mosque number 32, right? It's really 23 turned upside down, right? So so we here in the desert, brother, but at the same time, beautiful believers here, brother.
All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Shout out to all the believers out there in Arizona, and who I've interviewed many of them. So shout out to them as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. My next question is, what type of music do you like to listen to, sir?
Brother, I remember we got into a conversation with me and you, and I was talking about Brother Ernest.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. He a DJ, call it DJ Ice, right?
Yes, sir.
I said, right?
Yes, sir.
Brother, I'm all in on everything. I grew up on music, brother. You know what I'm saying? So, brother, I'm jazz, blues, man. I like R&B. I like the oldie but goodie. And every time, and your father, he'll tell you, anytime people come over here, brother, like I told you, my house, brother, we use it as hospitality. Because I heard the minister say, treat the believers, brother, like he would treat me. I took that seriously, brother. And you ask those that's on the road and have been around and been on the final call truck or whatever. We have all of them been in my home, brother. and we treated them, brother. And I remember you interviewed Brother Richard, Big Richard from out of Chicago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he heard me and him was like Hike and Mike, right? Brother, he'll tell you, when they come to that town, brother, I don't give when you had a title, you didn't have a title, brother. I treated you like the minister said treat you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Even here, and brothers coming from LA and stuff like that, brother, And they always say, saying the Brother Eric, man, one that I can tell you, man, you always treated us like a brother, because that's the best you can do, brother, is, help a struggling brother. Because, when we traveling, brother, you know what I'm saying? These pit stops that you make and stuff like that, man, listen, man, we doing this out of love, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's a volunteer army. You don't get paid to be in this army.
Yes,
you know
sir.
What I'm saying? But you
yes,
do
sir.
get rewarded for being in this army. You know what I'm saying? Because God never leaves you out there when you do a good deed, So I try to show them that, brother, because brother did us. He made us out of a family, brother. Brother, today, man, you might knock on the man's door. He won't. It might be ready. He won't even let you in. You know what I'm saying, brother? No, you got to let the brother in. Actually, want a cup of coffee or something, this, that, and another. Be a brother. And that's what I see the minister do, brother. So we take that example, brother. I take that religiously, brother.
Oh, praise to Allah. Yes, sir. My next question is, will you ever write a book on your personal life?
Brother, I don't even think that my life probably, I don't see myself like that, brother. If somebody write one of me, you know what I'm saying? Even all the stuff that I have done in the nation, I really, brother, never taught on it. You know what I'm saying, brother? I mean, brother, I always let those that, watch me, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people right now, for instance, when it came to Buffalo, right? They didn't know all that I did, because it was quiet. You know what I'm saying? What do I mean by quiet? Brother, I used to be a supervisor over this group called AmeriCorps, right? It's a government program, right? And then what they did, brother Joshua, they gave out educational awards, right? You know what I'm saying? For those who participated and created safe places and helped the seniors and removed the snow and stuff like that. A lot of believers, brother. I'll give you an example, brother Minister Henri, Brother Henri, the violinist, right?
Yes, sir.
By law of grace, I was able to help pay off his tuition, brother. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of brothers and sisters in the nation, brother. You know what I'm saying? That I paid off their tuition or their debt, with that program, right? I was able to get the miles, back then before they had Wi-Fi and all this stuff like that. The whole miles, we had a whole computer lab there, brother. And brother, I had $1 million educational grant. So I was able to give back to the community and bless the community, right? And then one time I brought the whole region in by law's grace and gave everybody gifts because they had a gift program, right? Where they used to get all the toys and stuff like that, right? And they used to get it for Christmas, right? But they used to donate. I should get all the donations and stuff for Save Ours for Savers Day. And I would bring them in. And so when Savior Day come, I would bless, the whole region that comes in, with gifts and stuff like that, brother, But those are things I never thought about that, brother. I just always, just try to be the brother, you know what I'm saying, that I was. And your father, brother, who helped in this sense, brother, when we had the NOI security, brother, I was able, brother, to get a site that was 620 units, right? On 600 acres of land, right? And we had the brothers secure the site, right? Now, at the time, brother Waliallah, brother Hugh, formerly named, right? He was like he's the one that paved the way. Even though he didn't benefit it, but he benefited because me and him was the one that went out there and, hit the soil, you know what I'm saying? And brother, knocked on the doors and all those apartment buildings and stuff like that, right? And even though he was sent out to be the regional captain in LA, right? Him and Minister Arve, another brother who we helped raise by law's grace, out of Rochester, he didn't benefit directly from the security, right? But check this out. But he's now, right, got all the security contracts in California and San Diego right now today. Sometimes, brother, come right back around, brother. You know what I'm saying? And bless you still because you did a great work. And that's how, when we talk and we chop it up, we think about the history, brother, because he wasn't selfish, brother. But he taught and he laid down a path. And sometimes, but like that track, that you lay down. Sometimes those trains and everything else, they roll, you know, right down the caboose. You know, the caboose is always the backup one, but everything connected, brother, is going the same way. You know, so I thank Allah for the examples, brother. You know, and even today, brother, we was able to create jobs.
Oh, praise to Allah.
Because of what your father's sacrifice was, you know, and brother, I'm telling you, man, the stuff that he had done by Allah's grace, right, is phenomenal, brother. You know what I mean, brother? It's like, brother, I can't even tell you, brother, the man is like a wizard, brother. You know what I mean? And I can tell you, every time you look at something, brother, it just turned to gold, you know? So it's not all about, it's about testifying or, you know, bear witness to people greatness, brother. You know, and I always liked that, even with the tape connection. I don't know how deep you went with your father with the tape connection or whatnot, right? But you know, he was the first one to come up with the tape connection.
Don't say it in there.
Huh? Oh my God. Now going right back to my wife again, right? Her and Joshua, the minister's son, right? They always had to take connection, Brother Fontaine and all of them, brother. You know, Sister Silver, I remember, but you made them by hand at that time, right? But your father broke out, brother, and took the tape connection and set tape connection in every city. We had one in Buffalo, brother. Dennis had the tape connection and everything else. And the tape connection really was almost like a barber shop where you get in there and people start kicking it, you know, and getting a lot of brothers and sisters to come inside the Nation of Islam. But it was a form also, a way of giving brothers jobs and producing monies, right? But also, right, getting the word out there, brother. Because, brother, that tape went all around the world. And, brother, your father used to drill at home, brother. You know what I'm saying, brother? And I can't even tell you, brother, how many tapes and everything else was sold during that era. You know, because, brother, it was mandatory.
Oh, praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. People showing you love all across the country. The Tracy, showing you love. My sister Naima says, ASA family, walaikum salam, ma'am. Okay, my next question is, I have two more questions for you, Brother Captain.
Yes, sir.
The Muslim Min Farrakhan departure is imminent. It's coming up soon. What advice would you give as someone who's had 40 years with him for the next generations coming after to stay 10 toes down in his absence?
You know, brother, if I could, you know, as I'm studying myself, Brother Joshua, because none of us are guaranteed to make it. I pray and I hope by Allah's permission, I'll be one of those, you know what I'm saying, 144,000, you know? And yes, I'm trying to qualify every day, you know what I'm saying, to try to make it. And, you know, one of the things that I would tell young people, this is not to the swift or the quick, but the one who endure to the end. Don't try to think that you have arrived because you got 10 years in, 20 years in, 30 years in, 40. Brother, no, it just means that you got that much time in, but you haven't arrived. And I don't give myself no false illusion. You know what I'm saying? Brother, I got a long way to go, especially it says that too much is given, much is required.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm still in the process, brother. I'm still in the process. I could be doing more today, you know? And the only thing I could do, brother, is hope and pray, brother. You know what I'm saying? That my decisions that I make, because I try to at least make right decisions, not decisions to take me backwards, but keep me going forward, even though I might stumble here or there, you know, I might miss a prayer here or there, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But God knows, brother, I try to at least feed the orphan, do something, you know what I'm saying? Acts of kindness, right? That Allah will see, you know what I'm saying? That, hey, man, I'm still here, you know, because I tell young people, brother, you know, this is a marathon, brother. And what happens, Brother Josh, you get burnt out. If you just, because a lot of times people don't realize that sometimes things happen in life, brother. You know, that don't mean that you're a bad person. Allah's through with you, you know, because you're going through some financial difficulty or something like that. No, brother, you know, you just got to keep understanding. You just got to keep moving forward. And that's what I try to do, brother. I you know, even as we speak right now, brother, you know what I'm saying? Tomorrow, brother, I'm going to cut, brother, the whole lot of the mosque. You know what I'm saying? As far as, you know, I try to keep the gardens, you know, the landscaping and stuff done, right? I'm not too big, brother, cutting no weeds. You know what I'm saying? Because I realize, brother, you know, that whatever good that you do, brother, you know what I'm saying? Allah rewards you for that, brother. You know, ain't because what? A captain can't cut the grass, you know what I'm saying? The Quran talks about, brother, those that keep the secret garden or, you know, the maintain the mosque.
That's
it
right.
didn't say nothing about captains can't maintain the mosque, because you're so high up there, No, that keeps me humble, brother. That keeps me humble, brother. And that's how I've been all my life, brother. I never was one of those captains, brother, that walked around with 1,000 brothers.
Mm.
Because I know they didn't belong to me, Brother Joshua. They belong to Muhammad. So if you set yourself way up there, brother, and you think that that's you, yeah, brother, the fall is greater. But if you realize who they belong to, brother, it keeps things in a perspective, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because, brother, what happened to the man that go get my shirts and my sneakers, or my shoes and stuff like that, right? Brother, you got to be you, brother. You know what I'm saying? And you got to maintain and knowing for sure, brother. You know what I'm saying? That once you keep your sword sharpened, brother, then, brother, like out here in the desert, I'm gonna get a drink of water, brother. You know what I'm saying, brother? I don't have no ice in it, but I'm gonna have me a drink of water, brother. So I'm just telling you by Lord's grace, brother. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. So Tracy says beautiful. And yes, sir. Okay, great. And we have one more question for you. And thank everyone for saying to like, share, subscribe to People's Podcast, and show Love to our brother Captain Eric Muhammad. What would you like your legacy to be, sir?
Wow. Brother, I would like my legacy to be that, brother, that I heard a word and I try to transform my life, brother, to being a better person that I can become, right? And to share that with other people, brother. I was just talking to some of the young brothers I helped raise in the mosque by Lord's grace, and I was telling them, brother, because now they got children, right? And families, right? And then sometimes, brother, like I tell her, I said, brother, it's kind of different, the nation today, brother, than it was yesterday, right? Brother, yesterday, brother, we was more harder. You know what I'm saying? And we was more rigid. Today, it's like almost if you cuss at somebody, why are you cussing at me? It's like, they this little feeling thing, right? You know what I'm saying?
Sir. Yes, sir.
And you don't have a lot of make it happen captains, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because the captain job is to make Muslims, brother. You know what I'm saying? And making Muslims not easy. It's not easy, brother. And I'm hoping, brother, that my legacy that we shows that, brother, those who are affected, brother, you know what I'm saying? That understood, brother, you know what I'm saying? That, brother, a nation you have to protect, brother. You know what I'm saying? A nation, brother, you have to die for. See, this is not church, brother Joshua. This is not church. See, we really get sometimes spooky, right? But, brother, you don't know what hour, what time might come, brother, that you might have to give your life, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm telling you, brother, that to me, right now, that's where the legacy, brother, because, brother, there's a lot of war stories I have. You know what I'm saying, brother? We had to take care of nation business, right? And so I know I've been tried and tested. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest test is still to come. Like you said, the departure of the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, brother. I don't know what that might look like at the end. You know what I'm saying? But I hope and pray, brother, that I can be steadfast, brother. You know what I'm saying? And be there. I know I'm real rested, though. You know what I'm saying? So, brother, shit, it ain't because I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you that shit right now, brother John. I'm ready to do something. I'm like that man, in a helicopter or one of them airplanes, got the hammer on it, he ready to jump, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Brother?
Yes, sir.
And just like those brothers that I saw before me, like brother whose name is Waleed now, brother Jack, we used to call him Benny Moore and all of them. Brother, when I first came to the States, they were like two pit bulls, brother. I like, man, these people, man, who got the lease on these brothers? These brothers, man, they would shake you down, lock jaw on you. I mean, I think Benny Moore must have bite down on 500 pounds of pressure, brother. I mean, these brothers was brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? And I said, these the type of soldiers I want to be, brother. So I'm hoping that, brother, that it will be the will of Allah, brother, that whatever happens, brother, I'm there for the task, brother. So I'm still trying to, qualify. Still try to qualify, beloved.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. And what a legacy that is, Brother Captain. I want to thank you again on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifice, all of the work, and that you and your family put in. Please extend them the greetings and let them know that we thank Allah for them as well, sir. May Allah continue to bless you. And people are
Yes,
showing you
sir.
love all across the country.
Yes, sir.
Sister Kamala Muhammad says, may Allah continue to bless you in every way possible way. Sister Tracy is still showing you love. And can't wait to put this on YouTube. We're
Yes,
back,
sir.
and we're starting
Yes,
off
sir.
with a wonderful guest. We took a 2-week break, but we're back with a wonderful guest, and we have much more to come today, this Sunday on the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Kevin.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Very much.